which is pretty much every hack and slash game ever. Beat the bad guys up, bad guys are dead, move along. And not to say that I'm not personally not a big fan of hack and slash games, but they're still viable options and they're entertaining to a point. But the problem with Killer is Dead is there is a slight incoherency to the story. Like if I try to give you a synopsis right now, I really couldn't do it without confusing the hell out of you. And that's just sort of how I felt throughout the whole game. You fight a train in one point. Crazy and out there, which is kind of cool. No coherency to it or like that doesn't connect. There's also side missions and whatnot, and a lot of people like the side missions to sort of add or something to at least character development or anything like that. But there's none of that for the side missions. They're pretty much just mini games, and some of them are really hard until you actually learn the game and actually use upgrades, and then they're just really easy and they don't really add anything to it. I mean, they give you money and other such to help you buy more upgrades, to help you buy gifts. And what the gifts do is they give you a special thing for what's called a gigolo mission. And the gigolo missions are sort of this other sub-mini game which acts as a Japanese dating simulator, where it's your job to hook up with this girl by, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just weird. Use the money to buy the gifts, get to the women to hopefully get them to fall for you, and they apparently give you stuff, which we never got because we didn't need it. We tried a gigolo mission like once and then decided, what the fuck is this? And then, yeah, like we didn't need it, so we didn't do it anymore. Concept, sort of cool. I give them props for trying that, but you know, it wasn't what I was expected nor what I wanted when I picked up the game. A bit of a spoiler warning. The character's name's named Mondo, and that's the main character, the bad guy that you play as. He's an assassin, whatever. And the primary antagonist, at least we think he's the primary antagonist. If he is, it's hard to tell. We don't know. Names David and Mondo. I don't know who came up with, were they part of the Super Mario fan club or something or other? Because why would you name a character after a level in Super Mario 64? Which is funny because there's one level where they make a reference where you go through these paintings and it's just transparent, you touch it and playing or fighting the enemies and whatnot. Like the enemies themselves are, you know, pretty simple. I mean, the basic enemies, they're called spoiler wires. They really don't have like a lot of weak points. There's just some block more than others, and all you do is you guard break. But as far as fighting these simple bad guys, all you really have to do is just press square, just over and over and over. And occasionally they do attack you, occasionally you dodge it. The sort of thing that makes it even easier, like the dodge feature is nice, but if you have to hit a dodge at the right time, you go into this thing called Mondo Vision, where everything else slows down, and again, where you pretty much press square repeatedly, and then, like I said, they die. So the bosses earlier on were a little more difficult because you didn't have as many upgrades and whatnot. Like they were a little more slower, but also erratic. It was hard to predict them. So when you got later on, the enemies would just attack you consistently. So all you had to do was fit in attacks when you could, and then you just press dodge each time, and you were almost guaranteed you'd have that perfect dodge where you go into Mondo Vision, again, press square, yada yada yada, and work your way down. They're dead. Back to the upgrades. Once you get a particular upgrade where you use your blood level, which is something that you acquire just by fighting, woohoo, and it just translates into health. So more blood level you have, the more health you have, but the more enemies you come up with, the more blood level you acquire. But you're not going to lose any health unless you face enemies. So you fight enemies, get more blood. You're just pretty much never going to die. I do like the style and whatnot, like as far as, you know, the sequences that they use for the fighting, the Mondo Vision or the execution sequences. I do like challenging games, but this one was pretty laid back, and that's a nice change of pace from time to time. The only extraordinary, frustrating thing about this game is bits of the dialogue. The main part of the main dialogue that I can think of is your main character has this weird penchant for some reason or other to say the title of the game. Once, sometimes twice during each mission. You know, he'll say, job, killer is dead. When you kill the guy, he says it again, killer is dead, and he's all dramatic about it, of course. I think this pertains to the gigolo missions, I'm not sure, but from time to time you'll get this little caption in the corner of some girl that I've never met before talking, saying how much she misses me and wants me. Who are you? Leave me alone. And then you're resorting to walking. You just I just want to get to the next part of the bad guys and beat them up. The story is good ish, short and sweet. I mean, I like anime, like as an anime, it seemed like it has the potential, like just short 12 episodes. I like one-shot or short-shot episodes. Sort of driving plot device behind this thing is this dark matter. Apparently it comes from the dark side of the moon. Oh yeah, spoiler, you fight on the moon. Where you come from, I think. Maybe I'm a bad reviewer or I just don't pay attention, but it's really that hard to follow. If I were to give a rating to Killer is Dead, I would probably give it like 2.5 for kids animation. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. All right, thank you internet for joining us for this week's review of Killer is Dead. Join us next week where we review Rayman Legends. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, see ya.